Is your small business growing? That's the question we address right here on the Grow Your Biz Show. It's where we interview strategic entrepreneurs who inform and inspire you on your solopreneur or small company journey. Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Grow Your Biz Show. Hello and welcome to episode number 97 of the Grow Your Biz Show. I'm your host, Paul Madsen, and the founder of GrowMedia.com. Martine, GrowMedia.com helps businesses to grow by telling their unique story on social media, video, and on television. We'll be right back to learn Martine's unique story right after thanking our sponsor. ActionCoachOmaha.com is the global leader in business coaching for small businesses and businesses of all sizes. If you need to clarify your business and if you need to have some accountability in your business, contact Jim Barger at ActionCoachOmaha.com. Welcome back. I'm joined in the studios of the lovely KPAO TV studios today by Martine Corte. Martine, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Oh,
Paul.
It's great to have you. Great to have you. Have such a great story. I just couldn't resist but having you come on the show, and I'm so pleased you're here. So, hey, Martine, we're just going to jump right in. Tell us, what business are you in?
I work with the average person that's wanting to launch a business. I take them by the hand and step by step. I take them through their passion and get them ready to launch their business. A lot of times that's the main thing is that they are afraid to launch, and that's what I help them with.
So you make them more comfortable through every step of that process?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, how do you do that? I mean, I'm a fledgling entrepreneur. I want to start ABC company or maybe a little side hustle of my own, and you have connected with me somehow. What do you do to make me more comfortable in this scary process?
I want you to understand your passion. What is your why as to why you want to start a business? And so we focus on the person or the individual's why, because that's really what's going to keep you going, keep you motivated from day to day, because there's ups and downs when it comes to building a business or even launching. We get discouraged and things like that. So what is your why? Why are you wanting?
Keep you going, I think, don't you?
It does.
I mean, as we launch and grow our businesses, we're always getting hit in the head or whatever, and it could be sometimes kind of miserable, kind of lonely, and if you're saying if you have the why behind you clearly articulated,
yes.
Then that'll help keep you going?
Right, absolutely. A lot of people just want to launch a business, but they don't really have a purpose behind it or a why as to why they want to do it. And I think if we focus on that and get them to write down their why, they've never thought about that before.
Sure.
I think that will help set the foundation of them growing their business and eventually launching.
You bet. Well, let me hold up a mirror here. I'm going to give you a little warning. What is your why? Why are you doing all of this, the coaching and a whole lot of other things we'll talk about?
I have a heart to serve. I'm a big volunteer person, and so when I have a heart to serve, that means I want to help people reach their goals. And so I do that through a lot of various ways, teaching, coaching, teaching other people how to start a business, things like that. So that's the drive in me, is because I just have a heart to serve. I love to help people.
Where did you first discover this heart to serve? It sounds like a lifelong thing. I mean, I think we're all born with certain traits, but as you grew up, where did you discover, so to speak, that heart of service?
Absolutely. It does start from way back. I volunteered with the library, Omaha Public Library. I have my daughter was young at the time, and I wanted her to do something during the summertime, and so I volunteered with their summer reading program. And that's really where I defined myself as a servant to the community.
You found a role, found a niche there, something to fall into and
absolutely
and expand. Huh?
And I absolutely loved it. It's a volunteer situation, and I went back at the following summer, and so that's really where I discovered myself in that position of having a heart to serve.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I'm going to back up just a little bit as you talk about the coaching thing. I can throw a rock and hit 10 other people who say they're a coach. I mean, what makes Martine's coaching different than others?
Because what makes my coaching different is because I have this heart to serve, and people feel they can talk to me because I'm easy to talk with. And I'm also an instructor, so I know how to bring it down to your level where people can receive what I'm trying to teach them. And I think a lot of times coaching may go over someone's head, but when you recognize that you need to break it down and bring it to their level so they can receive it and grasp it and then learn from your teachings, I think that makes the difference of, the whole difference. And I absolutely love what I do.
Well, that combined with your heart of service, I think is the passion behind it, the drive behind it, plus your communication skills you're describing. I mean, I know coaches who, they know all the right answers. I mean, we all as coaches kind of say some of the same things, but they know all the right answers and they're talking at a person, whereas you sound like you're what? You're drawing it out?
I'm drawing out the outline for them. They understand, they can take those steps. So just kind of laying the foundations of how to understand curriculum or information that's coming their way so they can learn from it and take that next step.
You bet, you bet. Well, we would be remiss if we just said you're a life coach or a small business startup coach, because you're a whole lot more, right?
Absolutely.
What are some of the other things you do? And we only have half an hour, remember?
I know, okay, let's run this down.
We need about 3 hours here to talk about it all.
Okay, so I am a business owner. I used to have a retail store here. Just recently we moved. So I have an African business store. I run it with my husband. He's from Ghana, West Africa, so that's where the connection comes in. And so also we do group tours to Ghana, West Africa.
Okay, let's talk about the pop-up thing a little bit more.
Right.
What kinds of items might I find at your pop-up locations where you do this retail type approach?
Sure. We have African clothing, African jewelry. We have shea butter. We have our African black soaps. We have oils. So we are a full-service boutique where we have everything. It's like a one-stop shop.
And now that's awesome. I often preach, not me alone, but many people preach niche. I just heard Seth Godin, famous sales and niche speaker, talk about what's the smallest niche you can serve. And you have chosen, I mean, it's not tremendously small, but it is tight. And in Omaha, Nebraska,
especially in
small,
Omaha, Nebraska, yes.
But you are serving that specific niche, and that's what's great. Now you're taking the products and the items to the public.
Yes, and we do pop-ups, events all over town. A lot of people say, what's a pop-up? It's when you take your business outside of the four walls of your brick and mortar and you set up shop at an event. Okay. So we're doing that. We have...
What's a typical event you would go to, for instance?
We've had a big African festival over in Stinson Park. That's huge. It's a huge event. They just did their second annual this past summer. So that's a typical pop-up event. Things that cater to what we sell through our business. We have an event on this Friday, the 25th of October, at the African American Leadership Conference. Again, catering to our specific demographics.
Sure.
Well, I've gone as far as Trainer, Iowa.
Okay, Trainer, Iowa.
Yes, we travel.
There's a demand for your niche in Trainer, Iowa? That's a town of what, 500,000 people? Or?
Yeah, schools, they have ethnic festivals. Yeah, okay. That's the type of events we're looking for.
Well, that's a great niche and idea for what you do. It's just more broader cultural awareness, maybe in some of these more focused communities where everybody's the same, to get that diversity theme out there?
Absolutely.
Well, that's a great niche. You should knock on lots of school doors.
I think
yes. They'd be really open to it.
Oh, yes.
And you have all the visual aids with the clothing and the items?
We do.
Well, that's terrific. And any other pop-up things coming in the late of the year, like for the holiday season, November, December?
Sure. We'll do the Christmas in the Village. That's in North Omaha, event run by Empowerment Network. So we'll be a vendor down there. We'll have our pop-up store. We usually do the Durham Museum. They have a huge ethnic festival in December, beginning of December. We've done that event.
I've been to that.
It's probably 3,000 people come through there.
Event. Yeah. What day in December is that?
I believe it's that Friday.
Early in December.
Yes, it's early December.
Yeah.
The Friday, I believe
Google that, I'm sure, and find it.
in December, the first Friday.
You bet. Well, that sounds like you're keep busy with that. But wait, there's more.
There's more.
But wait, there's more. I mean, I've got a long list here.
Yes.
I mean, we covered pop-ups a little bit. We covered coaching a little bit. Tell us about some of your other. You started talking about the tours.
Yes.
I'm very interested in this.
Yes. Our business is called S&M Tours. We take groups to Ghana, West Africa, where my husband is from, and we have a group of anywhere between 10 and 15 people, no more. We keep it kind of small, but I haven't.
10 or 15 people, okay.
Yeah, we keep it small. So we travel to Ghana, West Africa, and anyone can join the group. It's a general group. We also we cater to specific groups. So if you are a part of an organization or church, you can put together your own group, and we escort with you. So
you do?
Actually,
oh wow,
right, we will
you
go
and
with
your
you.
husband,
Yes,
together. Wow.
Yes, and so we will travel with you with the
Wow.
group. So you're with us the entire time. It's an 11-day trip on
11
average.
days. That's what I was going to. Oh wow,
Yes.
this is a big commitment then.
Yeah, it is a big commitment. It's fun because I like to travel.
Well, that's awesome for you. I imagine, isn't that plane ride about 12, 14 hours or something?
It could be, depending on where you leave from. If you're going to do a direct flight straight from JFK, it's 9 hours.
Sure.
If you're going to take the scenic route and go through Europe, it could be upwards of 21 hours.
Well, who's a typical customer of that? Who goes on these 11-day trips?
This would be people that are interested in learning more about their roots, in particular African Americans, but it's for all and anyone that is interested in learning more about the Ghana culture, since that's what we cater to is Ghana.
And you said there's an anniversary or historic landmark here coming up?
Yes, in 2019, this marks 400 years when the first enslaved African came to Virginia. So the president of Ghana has launched an initiative to welcome back all of the Africans in the diasporas, in the Americas, and the Caribbeans to visit the motherland. It doesn't matter what country. You can go to Ghana to commemorate the 400 years. And Ghana is doing something every month to commemorate that and celebrate.
And you can facilitate that for people who might, where do I start? What do I do?
Absolutely. We take you by the hand again.
By the hand.
Because
By the hand.
I believe in that one-on-one. Working together, so because a lot of people have a lot of questions, they've never traveled abroad, so there's passport questions, there's visa questions, because Ghana is one of the countries where you need a permit to enter the country, and that's called a visa. So a lot of people don't know all the ins and outs of traveling abroad into that country.
And do you, I don't know what the word is, escort people around then and highlight things and point out like a tour guide would?
So I have a team over in Ghana that will facilitate that part of it for me. And she will get together with her team, and there's a driver and there's a tour guide on the bus with us as well.
Okay. So
and pointing out different interests.
Wow. How many of these have you done?
Oh, this will be our 6th trip.
Wow. Yeah. So this is not something. You're still learning, I'm sure.
Yeah, there's new things pop up all the time.
Again, that's the smallest possible niche. People wanting to return to the homeland on the 400th anniversary.
Absolutely, it's huge. It's a huge deal.
Well, yeah. Do you find a lot of interest out there?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we go through about 4 different regions of Ghana. So it's a lot of history. We couldn't possibly cover everything in the 11, 12 days that we're there.
And no, you couldn't, of course. With the internet, of course, it's not just people from Omaha going, it's people from anywhere, right?
Right, anywhere. We've got a lady from Chicago, a lady in Atlanta, a lady in the DMV area on the East Coast, so all over.
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No, that's fantastic. What a neat thing. When's your next trip?
It is December 27th,
so
in a few months from now.
Coming right up. So
coming up.
Check out the website. We'll have that all posted at the end of the show.
Thank you, absolutely.
Well, that's terrific. Okay, we've got coaching, we've got pop-ups, we've got tours. Tell us about your teaching, your book, your speaking, that kind of thing.
Oh, yes. Okay, so I am an instructor here at Metro Community College here in Omaha, about 8 years now. Absolutely love it.
I am too.
Okay, great. And so I teach language arts amongst the other things that I teach under the adult education department. So one of my passions is telling your story. So I became an author about 1.5 years ago, and my book is called Journey to Greatness. And so it's
Journeys to Greatness.
Journey to Greatness, and it's a collaboration of 17 different authors. So it's an anthology project.
Right.
And so I have chapter 6, which talks about my journey from my 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship.
Right.
Because I left my 9 to 5 in 2016.
Right.
And so it's been a journey to launch and run businesses and grow from there. And so through my book writing, I became a speaker as well. I'm used to speaking because I'm an instructor, but now I'm starting to do speaking engagements. People are reaching out to me to speak. Matter of fact, I'm going to be speaking to a marketing class this Wednesday at Metro.
Right.
So now I'm growing my business in a different direction with the writing and the speaking and things like that. So I'm just evolving as a person, as an entrepreneur.
Well, and I think this is as good a place to bring it up as any. I joked before the show with Martine that hearing about all of her different works, we hereby go to a wide shot. We hereby dub Martine as the queen of all side hustles.
Yes.
I think that's what impresses me about you is, I mean, too many people, that person that you want to help launch in their own business, too often they're buying a job, aren't they?
They are.
And you know, they might as well stay in their 9 to 5. But too often they just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and they work 12 hours a day, 14 hours a day, whatever, and maybe they get the same amount they got in their job, maybe a little more, but it's a job. And how do you juggle all these kind of things? I mean, you take the approach of being an entrepreneur, being a businesswoman, and these are business units. Tell us more about that.
So it's important when you're launching a business that you don't get caught up, like you said, in the trap of being the one that's running the business. For an example, if you have a brick and mortar, someone has to open the store.
Someone's got to be
there. So
it's
initially it's you, especially because a lot of us start off as a one-woman show or a one-man show. So it's us. But eventually you have to get to a point where you're able to build a team so that you can walk away and start another business. That's what entrepreneurs do. We build businesses. And so,
that's awesome.
So I brought in a staff member to run the boutique. That wasn't my purpose of wanting to start this business to sit there and run it, or else I would have just stayed in my 9 to 5.
Right.
So, but I wanted to bring this gift of African, wares and things like that to the community, but I still had other things I wanted to do.
Well, it comes down to a question of time. I mean, you have 6 different arms and legs of your business empire. Call it an empire. How about
empire,
that?
Yes, it is.
You like that? Okay.
I do.
Yeah, that's good. It's coming. It's coming.
Yes, it's coming.
And you can't do that by yourself.
No, you can't.
Need to scale with people. I mean, what's the scary part for Jane Doe, John Doe, launching that one business and said, "Oh, I need an employee. I can't do all this by myself. If I'm going to be like Martine, I have to hire someone to do this. I have to hire someone to do that." I mean, what are the options for hiring an employee, a part-time person, a contractor? How do you do all that?
Right. So when you get to the point where you physically cannot keep going in, because there's a lot of hats to wear when you're running a business. If you're a one-woman show, you've got the marketing piece, you got the sales piece. You're physically there, opening up the doors of the business.
And we're not all good at all those either.
Right. And there's email marketing. There's so much to do. Social media, that's a whole nother. We need to hire social media. So to answer your question, it's starting to get to a point where you can afford to hire a social media manager, for example, or someone to do your marketing. A lot of these things, we can put our businesses on autopilot because we have this team built. So now you're not wearing all these hats and waking up and working 12, 14 hours a day.
And that's a beautiful thing. And then there truly are businesses. I mean, when you said, okay, we're going to hire someone to run the pop-up boutique, what goes through here? What steps do you take? Well, and this show is for entrepreneurs starting out.
Right. So I would sit down with that person, make sure they align up with our business motto, our mission, because I want someone to love my products as much as I do.
And how do you find that person?
So I interview them. I put out. I just kind of put out fillers to people that I know. And
through your personal network.
Right, my personal network. That's where we start. That's the easiest way, fastest way. It's free, right?
That's where people know you already,
Yeah, so you'll get recommendations. And so I would suggest sitting with them and just talking about your business, letting them know what you love about your business, and then ask them questions and see if the conversation goes in the direction that you want it to go.
You can kind of see what a person's
You
about.
can tell, right.
In an old-fashioned interview,
Old
one-to-one
fashioned,
in person.
Yes, old school
Yeah.
ways. Just talk to them. You'll get to know them. Then you can put them on a trial basis too. If you're,
Yeah, good
you
point.
know,
Good
not
point.
sure, you could say, okay, let's just try. You know,
Try them part-time.
Right.
I've gotten jobs before where, I mean, a sales position, commission-only type salesperson, where they said, well, we're going to try you out for 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
And I go, oh. So I worked my butt off in those 2 weeks and got the real job after that.
That's right.
So there's all sorts of ways to approach it with a contractor, with a part-time person, with a full-time person, or even
Yes.
through a staffing firm if one wants to.
That's right.
But it's more expensive, of course, perhaps, maybe not, who knows. But yeah, so that's the way to get that employee. How did you learn about this whole mindset of scaling, of having, you probably just ran out of time. I mean, how did you get to that point?
So my background in school, I have a bachelor's degree in business management and a master's in education. So putting together those two pieces of learning how to run a business, I call it the back office, the bookkeeping, the accounting.
Right.
I'm a 16-year tax professional.
Wow.
I learned all the business, the behind the scenes part of it. And then also my first job was in customer service here, living in Omaha. We were the telemarketing capital of the world.
Yes, we were.
I learned customer service.
Sure.
So putting your skill sets together will allow you to be able to run effective businesses, run them properly, efficiently, and you'll know how to scale. And especially being an entrepreneur, we want to scale our business. I took one product out of our boutique, which was our shea butter, and got it into the shelves of our no-name nutrition stores. There's two stores here, so that's a scaling, strategy that I use so
almost
that we could
passive income at that point.
It's on autopilot. It sits on their shelves. I don't have to be there to sell it. So doing different things like that to scale your business, there's so many different directions you can go with your business.
Yeah, well, and that's I think a theme from this program is not only that it's okay to start a lot of side hustles, but have a system in place, have a scalable approach to it. Start with the end in mind. Say, do I want to run a business where I'm doing this business for 4 hours, and I'm doing that business for 4 hours, and that business for 8 hours, and that one for 6. There's not that many hours in the day. But so approach those things like Martine does. She's got a fantastic mindset on things. And I want to get back to your journey. I mean, that's where a lot of viewers, I think, are who watch this show. Tell us about the moment or the moments that led up to, you were 8 years a professional in a professional work setting, 9 to 5, and then what happened?
So
what'd you do, and how'd you decide to make the jump?
So I started the businesses before I left, and I always recommend that people don't just leave their 9 to 5s. I know the anxiety that comes in when you have an idea and you're ready to run it full time, but you can't because you're in that 40-hour job, 40 hours a week.
Right.
So I built two businesses simultaneously before I left.
While you were
2
working
years,
full-time.
While I was working full-time. And so
and a parent, and a wife and a mother.
Yeah, I'm doing all these things, student, and so I launched finally. I got to a point where I could leave my 9 to 5 and run my businesses full-time because that was the goal, but you have to make strategic steps. You have to take strategic steps to get that done because it's not easy. You have to make sure the bills are still paid and things like that. You've got money coming in, because it's not, your business may start off slow, and so you still need to be able to.
Right. I think too often people make the jump and just assume that the revenue is going to be there. Like, oh, I'm good and people know me and so on, but it's always much slower. Right.
And that's the other thing is, because you have ups and downs in your business, especially with our boutique, our African boutique being a unique product, there's ups and downs. There's times where people want African wear, and then there's times where they don't. So so we had to, what do we do in those down times? We had to figure something out. Either scale up or start another business to keep the money coming in.
Yeah, well, and keep that. Because when an entrepreneur, up and down is always the hard part, isn't it?
Absolutely.
The revenue flow. Just give us 30 seconds about that scary moment when you walked into the boss and said, "See ya."
Well, I had to be careful because I was starting to be known about the boutique, and people wanted to stop by my office and ask about, are you selling this? And so it was like I didn't want them to know that I was in business,
Yeah.
but I still wanted to service them.
Don't want to make a fuss,
And,
yeah.
right. So it's just being careful when you're on your job, but you can still do it. You can still you know, maybe get with them on the side or something on the lunch break or something. But that was the scariest moments that I felt I didn't want my boss to know that I was launching out. If, you know, I didn't want him to think, well, she's leaving, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they think it's leading up to something else. Tell us about the moment, what you were feeling when you actually pulled the plug on the job.
I felt great because you know, we landed in the paper. We had a write-up about the boutique and our journey, our group trips to Ghana, West Africa. So the word was out, and at that point, I was ready to leave. I had built the businesses, so I was comfortable leaving because I had planned.
Yeah, you planned ahead.
That's right.
Well, the queen of all side hustle would have done that because you have a plan. Give us 30 seconds or 20 seconds on your real estate side hustle.
So I have a real estate business. I've been a landlord for 8 years, and then I recently flipped the home into Airbnb because that's the big thing now.
Sure.
Making money with Airbnbs, and that's when you stay at someone's home instead of staying at a hotel, for those that don't know what Airbnb is.
Right.
And so it's been very, very lucrative. And
That's awesome.
In Omaha, we have a lot of big events, more so every year. You know, every year we're getting more and more big events.
Sure.
I mean, huge events where people are coming and flying in. I've had them as far as Italy come in and stay at my home. So that's the real estate business. But that's, you know, that's on autopilot. When I was just a regular landlord, I didn't have to. I have a property manager. So it's about building a team when you're running all these different businesses. You can't do all this. I can't be over there, you know, cleaning. I had a housekeeper for the, you know, to flip the home for the next guest.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
You can't do it all yourself.
No.
Well, and that's the lesson of today's show, I think, is would you go out there and do that kind of business launching and have so many arms and legs to it, to not do it alone, to scale that and build something with the end in mind so you can have some peace of mind is what Martine has done, and she's done a wonderful example of that. We'll have all her contact information on the show notes here, and so check that out and feel free to reach out to Martine because she has a lot of things going on. We can all learn from her as well. Thank you so much for being on the show.
You are welcome.
Please join us next week for the next episode of the Grow Your Biz Show, and kindly visit me at growmedia.com to learn about my upcoming classes. One of them is called You on a Social Media Video, and that's coming up soon. So we'll see you then, talk to you, and thanks for joining us. In the meantime, go on out and grow something. All right.
Very good.